Kia ora, good morning and welcome back to our channel. I'm Justin. Today we will discuss about cost of living in New Zealand. How many thousands of dollars are required for surviving in New Zealand with a small family? That's our topic today. Inflation and all associated issues that affects all of us. New Zealand is nowhere different. We also are affected by the same. And of course, a recession looming large at us. At this stage, and I'm thinking about the expenses for a family in New Zealand, the most important expense for every family in New Zealand is the rent, if in case you are renting. If you own a house, maybe the mortgages. The rent in New Zealand varies from area to area, district to district. Because of the limited availability of good houses, otherwise because of the higher demands, the rents is very high in New Zealand in comparison with anywhere in the world. For a two-bedroom house with minimum facilities in the reasonably good area to live, you may have to spend around 500 plus wherever you go in New Zealand. Recently, the Trade Me, they conducted a review like last month and they released the result about the rent, median rent, and they told the New Zealanders that the median rent in New Zealand is around 600 New Zealand dollars a week. That is generally for a two-bedroom house or something like that. The median rent. So the median rent for a week is 600 means for a month it is around $2,600. That may be almost half or more than half of a person's income. Otherwise, near to half of a person's income. If he or she is the only breadwinner for the family, a good proportion of all his or her earning to be to be spent for the rent alone. Some of the areas like Wellington, Auckland, Bay of Plenty, all these areas are really expensive. I'm telling about the rent. Those areas in the downtown, in a comfortable, good area, if you wanted to have a two-bedroom house, you may have to spend 700 or even 800 New Zealand dollars for that. But if you are trying to find the accommodation bit far from the downtown, little bit away from the city center, you might find some accommodation for maybe 500 plus also. There are some other areas where you will find cheaper rental apartments or the houses like Wanganui, Southland, Invercargill and all. In those areas, you might be, if you are lucky, you might be able to find your house within $400 per month, per week range. The next most important expense in New Zealand is about the groceries. Because of the geographical location of New Zealand, all the imported products which comes from maybe from China or else maybe from UK or else from India or maybe some other areas of the world, the shipping is too much. That itself is a reason for us to pay a lot for our groceries and all our imported products. The groceries, when I think more about the groceries, the milk, a quality milk of 2 liters is around $5 plus. A dozen of egg, $10. A kg of beef, it's around $20. Chicken, $10 to $15. And fish, it's like if it's a good one like a snapper or a salmon, it's around $40 to $60. So, and thinking about the vegetables, the broccoli is around $3, $4 now. Cauliflower, cabbage, $6 to $7. Tomato, a kg is around $10. And thinking about the fruits, banana nearly $4 now. And the mandarins, $8. Apples, actually even New Zealand apples, some stages we will get it for even for 50 cents, But these days it's around $2-3 per kg. So the Commerce Commission recently conducted a study in New Zealand economy, and they found a, an average New Zealander need to spend around $70 per person for his groceries for a week. Only the groceries for one person is around $70. If you plan very well, if you think pragmatically, you might be able to reduce a little bit from that. But generally, it's the rule, around 70 per person. So a week for a family of four, 280, and for a month, it is nearly 1,200 New Zealand dollar. That is the second biggest expense in New Zealand. And the next one is something which I have to tell you, like it's optional. You can spend it or else you can save that amount. Up to you. That's about the schooling of our children. There are plenty of public schools in New Zealand, the government schools. So they cater educations to all New Zealand children. They are ready to cater educations to the children at no cost. Most of them are, almost everything is free there. Only you may have to spend for your stationaries in some schools and also in some other schools for your uniforms. Whereas if you decide your children to be in the private school, you need to pay annually. It varies from school to school. If they are in the lower levels, the minimum private school charges are around 11,000 New Zealand dollar a year. It can go up to 20,000. Maybe in some situations a little bit more than that. In the higher schools, it may be around 14,000 to 25,000. Depends on the school again. If you have two children, they are going to private schools, they are attending private schools, you have to spend 2,000 to 4,000 New Zealand dollar a month for their education alone. And one thing I have to tell here, the New Zealand schools, they are really high in standards. Internationally well-respected educations are given in all the New Zealand schools, irrespective whether it is private or public. If your children, they would like to learn, they can study very well even in the public schools. That is my sincere opinion. You can agree with me or disagree with me. So the schooling, that is one thing. And if you have small children, like the children who are younger than 6 years, the government is giving them few hours of free early childhood education. That means up to 20 hours a week, you can send your children free of cost, enroll them and send them 20 hours to an early childhood education center. Somewhat like a play school or little bit of learning with some activities. Good, they enjoy it. But in case both of you are working and you want them to be there in the school for more than 20 hours, you need to pay accordingly. Every schools, they may have some packages. They may tell you, if you wanted to send your children 40 hours a week, pay this much, 60 hours a week, pay this much, all those packages. That varies from school to school. Decide where you wanted to send them, how many hours you wanted to send them, and plan accordingly. Another thing in the New Zealand is about the transport. There are public transport, the buses and trains. They do a very good job, especially in the cities. But to the village areas, remote areas, the public transport is, maybe it may be there, but it may not be very effective. You may have to hire some taxis, Uber, Ola, or anything like that. Otherwise, you should have your own transports. Like you should have your own private carrier, private car or van or anything like that. So, if you are thinking about buying a car in New Zealand, you can buy the brand new cars from the showroom. Otherwise, you can buy second-hand cars from the market. Or else you can go to a dealer who imports cars from other countries like Japan or UK or US or Australia. So, if you are able to buy a car by paying money, That's the best thing. Otherwise, you can avail loan and you can pay it back. When you buy a car in loan, you should think about the repayment. Just for example, if you are buying a car worth around 10,000 New Zealand dollar and giving some minimum investment initially, you may have to pay around 200 New Zealand dollar per month for a 5-year term. Plus, you have to take care of your car's maintenance. The mechanical works and other things are really costly here. The labor is very costly here. If you are maintaining a car properly, you may have to spend, if it's a good car, still you may have to spend around 500 plus New Zealand dollar for a good service and a good maintenance per year. Periodically, you should do the oil and filter changes and other mechanical repairs. And you also have to pay for the registration. That is the legal requirement for driving a car in New Zealand. That is rego, license, anything we can say. You can buy it for a month, 2 months, an year, or anything like that. You can buy it directly through online. Otherwise, you can buy it from the next post shop or maybe VTN or somewhere. That's an easy buy. It's around $100 for an year. And the next thing is about warrant of fitness. It is also your responsibility to ensure the car which you are using in the New Zealand roads are safe for yourself and also for others. That is why you ought to bring your car to a qualified, professional, approved mechanic who will check the safety of your car actually. Everything about the safety they will check. That check is known as warrant of fitness. So they will check the tire, the brakes, the wiper blades, the lights, the indicators, the underbody rest, so many things, each and everything about the safety. Even airbags, all seat belts, they will check everything. And they will tell you if there is anything to be done, they will tell you need to do this. Rectify that, go back to the same person, they will issue the WOF. If there is no problem, they will issue the WOF directly, warrant of fitness directly. A warrant of fitness depends on the person whom you are approaching or the workshop you are approaching. They charge you anywhere between $50 to $80 New Zealand dollars just for warrant of fitness check. And the repair cost is separate. And another thing, I wanted to tell you, just a small oil and filter change with for a normal car, petrol car, that's around 100 New Zealand dollars. If there is a mechanical work, if it is something severe, something complicated, sometimes you may have to spend more than the value of the car just for the mechanical works. Underbody rust repair, that is another complicated thing. That is a reason for WOF failure also. If something like that, you may have to spend thousands of dollars for that. So it's always good to check the car before buying. Maybe get an inspection by somebody who is a professional, a mechanic. Otherwise, you can request a Automobile Association of New Zealand. They will come, they will check the car for you. They will give you the exact report. What all are the expected, what is the current condition of the car? What all are the forthcoming expected wear and tear, or is that a good car to buy? They will give you all the directions about it. But they may charge you around 200 New Zealand dollar for doing that. And another thing is about when you have the car, you also have to pay for the petrol and other things. On an average, I was reading somewhere a car in New Zealand travels around 14,000 kilometers in a year. So at this stage, today, at the end of March, the liter of petrol is around $2.20. So 14,000 kilometers on a pure petrol car at a cost of $2.20 per liter, you need to spend around 3,000 New Zealand dollar only for the petrol. That means around $250 a month if you are traveling around 1,200 kilometers a month. That is another one thing. You have to think of that also. And another one is when you have the car, you also think about the insurance. You should. I suggest you should have a insurance. because it can cover you in case something happens, an accident, unexpected event, maybe a natural calamity. So if you have a fully, like a comprehensive insurance that can cover all these issues. So it's always good to have the full cover insurance also for your car. Cover you, your car, and the people who are around you. So that's about the car. And the next thing is about electricity. Electricity, like every household, again, average, a New Zealand household uses around 800 kilowatts of electricity a month. That's around 250 to 300 New Zealand dollar they need to spend for electricity every month. In the winter months, it may be higher, whereas in the summer and other time, it is little bit lesser. Because during winter, we are using all the heating system, heat pumps, heaters, and so many other electrical equipments we may be using in the winter. But still, you have to consider around 250 for a household. Just monthly electricity bill. Then the telephone, Wi-Fi, mobile. So Wi-Fi is another one necessity here. It's always good. Like if you don't have also you can survive. But if you really opt Wi-Fi, unlimited Wi-Fi, you have to spend around 60 to 120 New Zealand dollars. Some of the good providers, they can give you the Wi-Fi connection unlimited with a reasonable speed for around 90 New Zealand dollars. And you also need to have minimum 2 mobile phones. 2 mobile phones, minimum recharge is around, you can recharge for lesser, but if you wanted to have some a little bit of data and some outgoing calls, you need to recharge for around 20 New Zealand dollars a month. 20 plus 20, that is another $40 for the mobile recharge. And a telephone connection at home can come with the Wi-Fi if you opt it. The next thing is about the rates. Some of the rates depends on the area where you are staying. Some of the rates are free, some are payable. Like the water. Some areas it's free. Otherwise, you have to spend around 30 to 50 New Zealand dollars per month. Then about the refuse. That means the refuse collection, like all your wheelie bins, like your waste. You can select the size of the wheelie bin. Some of the areas, the wheelie bins, the refuse collection is included in the rates which your landlord is paying to your governing bodies, your corporation or whatever may be your governing body. If not so, you have to hire one for your own. In that situation, you may have to spend around 30 to 40 New Zealand dollars a month for wheelie bin itself. And another thing is about property maintenance. Most of the situations, the maintenance of the property is the responsibility of the landlord. But some of the minor things like the loan and all, the landlord may ask you, if it will be written in your contract, like you have to maintain the loan. In that situations, and if you are hiring somebody and the loan is small, still you may have to spend around 100 New Zealand dollars just for the loan maintenance. And the next one is again optional. If you would like to, you can go for it, otherwise no. That is about the insurance. The health insurance I am telling about. You can have health insurance, you can buy health insurance for around or maybe lesser than 200 New Zealand dollars. And if you don't have health insurance also, you can survive in New Zealand. Because the public health system, it is really functional. If you approach the public hospital with any of your serious concerns, a life-threatening injury, or something which needs to be immediately addressed, the public hospital will admit you, they will give you the treatment, they will discharge you if you have a long-term visa. Whereas, if your condition is not critical, they can postpone it for some other day. Sometimes the hospital can keep you in queue, that may be few months to maybe years. I give an example, maybe a knee replacement surgery. is something which is needed, but if you don't do it today, nothing is going to happen big. That situations, the hospital will prioritize the most important cases. They will give you a date maybe after 6 months or maybe 3 months. You go back to the hospital on the same date, they will address the issue. But if you have the insurance, your problem will be addressed by the private players at the earliest. That is the difference. But if you are four, and if all four of you need insurance, you have to spend 500 to 1000 New Zealand dollar for insurance a month. That is again a big expense. And as your age goes up, like as you are getting older, you need to pay more and more for the insurance. If you are 73 plus, you may have to spend around, one person itself, you may have to spend around 300, 350 for health insurance. So I'm keeping it as an optional one. You can go for it. You can think, yeah, no, not today. And another one thing that is also optional, that is about the life insurance. If you are the sole breadwinner of the family, it's always good to have a life insurance cover. It cost again depends upon the coverage and your age, your health conditions, your smoking, your other risk and everything they will consider. Still on an average, if you wanted to insure your life for around 500,000 New Zealand dollar, you may have to spend monthly $50 to $100, depends on the provider. And another one is about your content insurance. That is also optional, but it is good to have actually, because in case of a natural calamity or something else, if your contents, that means all your furniture, your whiteware, your electronics, whatever in your house, whatever are your valuables, maybe even your jewelry, mobile phones, everything you can add into the contents insurance, but you need to pay for that. But it really worth some situations because we really don't know when the unexpected can happen to us. And another thing is about income protection insurance. That is an additional one. If you think that you need some protection for your income, tomorrow you are unable to work with a reason or other, you need to have some minimum income to the family, it's good to get one income protection insurance also. That will cost you around 100 plus New Zealand dollars a month again. Too much of money, eh? And the last one, if you are very good with the pets, if you like some dogs or cats to be with you, you need to take care of them, right? The immunizations and other treatments, it will cost you a lot. You can have vet insurance also. That will depends upon that. The cost of that depends upon how many pets you have and what amount you wanted them to be insured and all other things. So when I am adding all these things, I could find like our total expenses for a month for a small family. Like if you are sending them to the private schools, if you have all the insurance and other things, it can go up to around 9,000 to 10,000 New Zealand dollars. But as I was mentioning you earlier, you can reduce some of those expenses. If you are very careful, you can bring it to almost half. I told you how you can do that itself. I'll come back to you with some other better videos where I can share you the best ways how you can save more money in New Zealand. Thank you for listening to me. And if you are watching our video first time, I request you to kindly subscribe our channel and share to your friends if you think that is going to be helpful to them. Thank you once again.